Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Football Predictions and High Value Odds. And today I'm going to be giving out picks for Sunday and Monday. So basically this is part 2 of the weekend's picks. If you're a newcomer here, I suggest that you start betting on goals and single games. I try to provide you with the best information that I can, then it's up to you to choose those games or not. Now guys, as usual, before we dive into the picks for Sunday and Monday, let's go over the picks that we had for the Europa League. Guys, so we went 5 for 6 last night. Congrats to whoever took the bets, especially as single games, but I saw some of you in the comment section actually took those bets in a ACA and it didn't go through. And hopefully that's a learning curve for you, because I consider ACAs usually a lottery, especially if it's over 5 to 10 games. No matter which low odds you put on the bet slip, if it can be 110 to 120, usually there's going to be a game or two that doesn't go through. And that's why for long-term betting, to make profit, you have to start betting on single games. And that's why I give you higher odds on this channel. Okay guys, so let's review the picks. Let's start off with the earlier games. We had Bachka against Freiburg. BTTS, it did help a lot that Bachka scored the first goal in the beginning of the first half. That's when I knew the bet was going to go through. And the odds were really decent at 187. Then we had Olympiacos over 1 against West Ham. That was done and dusted in the first half. Olympiacos won that game 2-1 and they got the huge victory that they needed. Now, for the later games in the Europa League, we had Union. This is the game we were all sweating on, but what's a good bet without some sweat? In the end, it came on the 95th minute and we were perfect on the Europa League 3 for 3. Then for the Conference League, we had Lecce Warsaw over 1 goal. They won that game. We took that bet because they were riding a 4-game losing streak, so eventually they had to win a game and score the 2 goals. Odds weren't great, but 143. Then the only loss we had was Dinamo Zagreb against Victoria. We had Dinamo Zagreb over 1.5, and the reason I took that bet is because they're solid at home and the magnitude of the game was huge. They had to win that game and they lost it, and now they risk of not qualifying in the group. And later on in the comment section, a few of the fellow Croatians wrote that they actually had some key losses in the transfer market, and it's not the same Dinamo Zagreb team that we used to know. Now for the last pick, we had Bodo against Besiktas, BTTS, that went through. We were really lucky. Besiktas played a terrible game, and I suggest that you go and watch the goal that Besiktas scored. It was actually from a Bodo player. I guess he also had BTTS. And yeah, overall that was it. 5 for 6. Good. Let's continue the momentum going on into this weekend. Now let's start off with the Sunday's picks, and let's start off with the game of the weekend, at least for the Premier League, because there's also El Clasico, Man United against Man City. Now, just like any derby, this game can be quite unpredictable. Man United has been a really streaky team this year. They have no draws whatsoever. It's either they win the games or they lose the games. And so far, they've been riding a 3-game winning streak. And every game that they won was by 1 goal margin. Now, Man City has been doing pretty bad for its standard. They had lost 2 out of the previous 3 games in the Premier League. But when you look at the table, they're still only 2 points away from the top. That just shows you how great Man City is. But the stat that I like is that they have been conceding a lot this year. In fact, they conceded in 6 consecutive games. And this is why I'm leaning towards taking BTTS in this game. The bookies are currently giving us odds 172. And I believe both Man United and Man City are going to be scoring in this one. So that's going to be our first pick, BTTS, odds 172. And guys, for this game, what are you guys going to be betting on? But I won't blame you if you actually leave this game out. Now for the second pick, we head to La Liga, a game between Atletico and Alaves. Now I thought I would never say this in my lifetime, but Atletico is becoming one of my favorite teams to bet on. They proved it again a few days ago against Celtic. We had them over 1.5. Done and dusted, odds 212. And now Atletico is riding a 7-game streak where they scored 2 goals or over. Unreal. But this is going to be a huge test for them because they're playing a stingy Alaves team. I hate betting on teams like that. They usually play under 2.5. And in fact, they're riding an 8-game streak of their own where they played under 2.5. But I'm right in here again with Atletico. I'm expecting them to continue their dominance at home. The odds are currently at 154, so the bookies are slowly lowering down the odds for Atletico's over 1.5. So that's going to be our second pick. Now for the third pick, we stay in La Liga, a game between Vallecano and Real Sociedad, our favorite Real Sociedad, I must say. It's actually been a while since we paid them a visit, and the reason I say our favorite for the newcomers is because every single time we put a bet on them, they provided a positive result. We're 4-4-4. So let's continue that, streak. So far, since we haven't been putting money on them, they haven't scored over 1 goal, which is great. They actually lost one of the 2 games to Atletico. Now they're facing off a pretty solid Vallecano team on the table. However, they do concede at home. They conceded in 3 out of the 4 games that they played in. And I'm sure you remember that crazy Vallecano defeat against Atletico where they lost 7-0 earlier this season. And let's get back on track with Sociedad. I like the bet here of over 1. Again, bookies are providing us with positive odds at 175. So that's what I'm going to be rolling with. I suggest you, if you don't have the over 1 bet, to go with the 134 on Sociedad. I believe they're going to be scoring in this game, and maybe 2. That's why I'm taking over 1. So that's going to be our 3rd pick. Now for the 4th pick, we head to the French League, a game between Rennes and Strasbourg. Now Rennes is not off to a great start this season. They're currently mid-table, 9th place, and we're accustomed to seeing them at the top of the table, usually in the top 5 places. In fact, in back-to-back seasons, they finished 4th place. And that's due to their start of the season. In 7 games, they had way too many draws, but they had 0 defeats. But now they're riding a 2-game losing streak. First, a terrible loss against Lorient, and then an understandable one against PSG. While Strasbourg isn't any better, they're coming off 3 straight losses of their own. However, I'm going to be riding with Rennes. They have scored 2 or more goals this season at home, except that PSG loss. So I'm going to be taking them over 1.5. The bookies are currently giving us odds 166. Now, for the last pick, we go to my favorite Serie A, a game between Napoli and Milan. This is already a huge game for both teams. They can't let Inter escape for the Scudetto race. And Napoli is currently riding a 2-game winning streak. We had them versus Verona, but at home they have lost 2 games in a row in Serie A against Fiorentina and also in the Champions League against Real Madrid. While Milan is also on a losing streak right now. We had them against PSG over 1.5. They lost that game 3-0, and also they lost at home to Juventus. So in fact, they didn't even score 1 goal in the last 2 games. Now, in the past few years, Milan has had its success in Naples. They're coming off 3 wins and 2 draws in the past 5 games when they faced off. And considering that they haven't scored in back-to-back games and Napoli conceding at home, I'm going to be rolling with Milan on this one. I'm going to be taking Milan over 1 goal. The odds are currently at 182. So that's going to be our final pick for Sunday. Now let's get on with the Monday's picks and let's head to the Danish league, which has been kind to us in the previous games. A game between Aarhus and Rangers. Both of those teams are mid-table. Aarhus is only 3 points ahead of them. They scored 17 goals, conceded 17. However, Rangers is riding a streak right now. They haven't lost in 5 consecutive games. And the stat that I like even better is that they have scored in 4 consecutive games. I'm looking for that streak to continue. You have the option of taking the BTTS. It's actually high odds right now. It's almost at 2, well, 195 currently. But I'm not going to be going with the BTTS. I'm going to be taking just Rangers to score. I'm going to be more safe as usual. The odds are currently 160. I'm happy for that. This is my favorite bet of all time for a team just to score. For the second pick on Monday, we head to La Liga, a game between Granada and Villarreal. Yes, the same Granada team that did us dirty last time against Osasuna. We had Granada just to score and they lost that game in 10 men 2-0. But both of those teams are underachieving so far in La Liga, especially Villarreal. But yeah, again, the stat that I like here is that Granada have been scoring, especially at home. In 3 out of the 5 games, they scored 2 or more goals, even against Barcelona. And you know what? I'm going to be riding with Granada again. I'm going to take them over 1. The odds are dropping a bit. They're now at 156. So I'm going to be taking Granada over 1 against Villarreal. But if they don't score, they're going straight to the blacklist. Now for the last pick, we head to Serie A, a game between Lazio and Fiorentina. We have been acing it on Lazio this year. Whenever we need them to score over 1.5 goals, they do it. And whenever we need them to concede over 1.5 goals, they do it as well. Just a couple of days ago, we had Feyenoord over 1.5 against Lazio, and they lost that game 3-1. Now, Fiorentina so far this year has been solid. Apart from that terrible Empoli loss that they had 2-0 at home, that was totally unexpected. But now they bounced back in the Europa League. They won 6-0, and that's a team that can score. We've seen it also their last away game against Napoli. They won that game 1-3. That was a huge result. And Lazio are coming off 2 straight wins at home. While they do concede, they conceded in every single game at home except the Torino one. Now you have the option of going BTTS here, but I'm going to be riding with the away side here with the way they have been scoring goals. I'm taking Fiorentina over 1 goal for odds 176. And you also have the option if you want to go Fiorentina just to score at odds 137. Guys, so this is it for me, 8 picks in total. If you're satisfied with the information that I provide and the work that I put in on this channel, thumbs up, would really appreciate it. And comment down below the picks that you're going to be taking this weekend. Maybe the games that I didn't cover, I look at them, I always comment back, and sometimes I take those games. So thanks, guys. And yeah, this is it. I'll be back this week. There's the lame domestic cups. I hate betting on cup games, but I'll see. Maybe there's games outside the top 5 leagues, and see if there's great odds, and maybe I'm gonna bring a video this week. So bet responsibly, stay healthy, and I'll see you very soon. Adios.